All right. So the topic for today's presentation is called small talk. Small talk, and using small talk to build relationships with our loved ones and also build relationship with strangers that we don't know. So I've been doing a series of called Happiness, which was a study by Harvard University, and they had done this study for 70 years, and they have gathered many data, and they interview many people and find out what makes a person happy in their lives. So they gather information, they interview them, and they ask them many questions, and and they analyze the data, and then they found out that whether you're rich or poor, it doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor or not. When you're rich, you have sometimes you're not happy. When you are poor, you can be very happy. But one thing they find out from the conclusion is one of the most important thing in the life that determines whether a person is happy or not is actually relationships. They discover the most important thing is relationship. So this is why today I would like to focus on how do we build relationship with our family members, with our loved ones, with our friends and our neighbors and so on. Now, we are the older generation. So, and our children belong to the younger generation, right? So there is a gap. There's called a generation divide, the gap between the older generation and the younger generation. Because the older generation, like my parents, they always tell us this. Oh, when I was young, I had to go to school without any shoes, and I had to walk to school for more than an hour barefoot. And we didn't have much to eat. Our life was very difficult. But nowadays, the young people, they have everything. They have everything. They have many opportunities, but they are very lazy. So this is what my parents have been telling me when I was, a teenager, when I was going to school. And surprisingly, I found that after I became a parent, I kind of say more or less similar things to my children. I may not say that I have to go to school bare feet, I have to walk for an hour. I may not say that, but I would say, well, our life is not easy. Well, you guys have everything. So to the younger generation, what are they thinking? My children, my own two sons are telling me, hey, mom, in Canada, we don't have any problems. Um, you guys, the parents' generation, you are too old fashioned. Time has changed. And mom and dad, you have no idea what is happening. And can you imagine, you know, uh, I heard that from my son, and he tells me, Mom, you don't know anything. Oh my gosh, it hurt. I was a school principal, and he told me, you don't know anything. Wow. So in the younger generation, they are very smart, yes, because of the internet, because of AI, they can find information so easily, and they know a lot. So a lot of times the younger people would tell the older generation, it's betul. You don't know anything. So how do we build relations with the younger generation, with the people we love? The most important thing is through communication. And this is the most important thing. But how does communication start? A lot of people tell me, oh, I want to talk to my son, and my son is working not in Toronto. My son is working somewhere else in the States, somewhere else. And I don't have anything to say to them. So communication starts from casual conversation. So today we're going to look at small talk. Okay. Um, so what do we say? What do older people say to younger people? And I know whenever I see my mom and dad would say, "Ah, 你吃了饭没有啊?" And my mom would keep telling me, "Oh, put more clothes on. Okay, don't catch a cold. Okay, make sure you eat well. 不要花太多钱啊。You make a lot of money, but don't spend it all. Make sure you save a lot of money. Don't overspend." So these are kind of thing we're saying to our children a lot because we don't have anything to say to them. 你吃了饭没有啊？穿着的衣裳啊，什么什么。So now, so let's look at how people in North America communicate. And I was very surprised because when I started working as a teacher, I find that some teachers talk to me, but they can talk to you for half an hour and you don't know anything about them. There's a certain skills in doing small talk. This is called small talk. People can talk to you, your colleagues, your friends, your boss, or somebody can talk to you every day, for 10, 15 minutes, whatever. But then you don't get to know them if they don't let you, if they don't want to disclose information to you. They can talk about lots of things, but you don't know anything about them. So this is called small talk. Small talk is you talk about something that's non-controversial. You're not arguing about anything. Something not offensive. Okay, and it's very safe topic. Like if we see our children, sometimes we say something like, "Oh, well, how come you look like this? I don't like your haircut. Oh, why are you wearing this shirt?" And we would say something like that our children would find offensive. And small talk is talking about safe topics, talking about something is kind of sweet. Something like, "Oh, do you know that yesterday there was a little dog and the little dog, fell into the river and the policeman or the firefighter, they went and saved the little dog." And they would talk about things like that. Or they say about, "Oh, I saw that you're driving a new car. Well, how do you like the car? What kind of car is this?" So then they would talk about things like this that does not offend you, uh, that you don't argue about anything. Now, nowadays, we have to be careful because of Donald Trump. Some people are very pro-Trump, some people are not. And I find that whenever we talk about politics, we will start arguing. So now we don't even talk about politics now. Because even in the families, if you are pro or against Trump, then they can start getting into arguments. So it's better not, to talk about things like that. So the ability to be able to talk with strangers is a social skills and it will help you to break the ice. And actually, they said that knowing how to do small talk is very important because it's like a social lubricant, and it helps you to create good relationship. It helps you to get to know the person or the customer better, and it creates a friendly atmosphere, a friendly environment, so you can get things done. Because by being friendly and knowing what to say to people, then you create a good impression, and then people would like talking with you and would like doing business with you. And same with our family members. Nobody, if we don't talk, we can't have good conversation with our family. They don't want to talk to us either. So now I'm giving you a few tips on how to start conversation. Number one, the most common topic is the weather. So when you see a stranger, sometimes you see somebody at a party or even in the elevator, or you meet someone for the first time. The first thing if you don't know what to say, you can say, "Oh, today's weather. Today is a hot day, isn't it?" Or actually, today is a rainy day. It's a little foggy out there, and there may be some difficulty for someone to be able to see well at nighttime because it's a little foggy. And then you can start talking about the weather. In Canada, it's so much to talk about because we have 4 seasons. Now, it would be a little difficult in Hong Kong or in Cambodia where it's hot every month, every day. Then there's not much to talk about. But in Canada, the weather is a good topic. And I remember last week during the first snowfall, after the first snowfall, right away, there were so many traffic accidents. So lots to talk about. And because the weather also affects the traffic and so on and so forth, right? So when you see somebody, you say, "Oh, hi, how are you? My name is Rebecca." And then you stop. You have nothing to say. Then you say, "Oh, today's weather is pretty good, huh? Oh, I enjoy the weather." Or you say, "Oh, I heard that tomorrow is going to be cold, or next week is going to be a big snowfall. So we have to be careful," and so on and so forth. So weather is a very good topic. It's a safe topic. It's something that everyone can relate to. Second topic, good topic, is current events. Now, a couple of weeks ago, there was a big thing that happened in Toronto. Current event. These were the people. These were the people out there in the squares, in many public spaces. They were watching something. Do you remember what it was? It brought the entire Canada together. It brought Canadians from coast to coast together. People were all cheering for one team. It was the Blue Jays playing in the World Series final game against Los Angeles. So the Blue Jays won the Eastern Championship. So with the Los Angeles, they won the Western Championship. So the two teams were playing the final. So we were following the 7 final games that decide the World Championship. So that was one of the games that we watched on TV, and people were just going crazy. And since we didn't get the tickets to go to the Rogers Stadium to watch the game, we went to the bar and we watched it there. Because the last time it happened when the Blue Jays was able to play in the World Series final game, it happened in 1992 and 93. So it was a long, long time ago. So there were a lot of people in the bar who could not, like me, us, we could not get into the stadium to watch the game. So we watched it in the bar. This is my husband there. I was taking picture and we were watching there. So while we were watching the game, everybody got so excited. So I took some pictures like I did, and then I sent these pictures. I sent this picture to my son who lives in San Francisco. Well, I don't know about you, but I find that young people these days, they don't really return the messages too quickly. Maybe with their friends, I don't know, maybe with their work. But with the parents, I find that sometimes our sons take the 2 or 3 days to return our messages. Well, unless it was an emergency, unless it was very serious, sometimes it takes them 2 or 3 days before they return the messages. But this time, I sent a picture. I sent a Canadian picture. I sent this picture. I sent this picture. And I sent my husband's picture. And I said, "Hey, Eric, my son," I said, "Here, guess what? Guess what we're doing? We are watching the Jays playing the final game." And I sent a picture and I sent a message. And right away, like in 5 minutes' time, my son replied it right away. And he replied, he said, Mom, I am also watching. It's so exciting. And then we kept talking, texting each other back and forth. We have such a good conversation. I was just so happy because I was able to talk with my son about the sports game, which he loves. And this is why we went to watch the game because we want to make sure that we are current with the event so that we can talk to our sons and talk to people about these games because a lot of people were talking about it. And this is the one of the picture I took at the bar. You see, the people were so excited. Some of them even bought trumpets and they were blowing the horns and blowing the trumpet when they play O Canada. It was just very, very interesting, very exciting. So if we want to talk with our children or to our colleague, to our friends, or even to strangers, we need to keep ourselves current with the current events. Like don't be always like focus on whatever you're doing in your work or your family. But we need to watch the news. We need to be current about what is happening, so that our conversation can be a little bit more interesting. Even with our own children, you know, we cannot keep telling them, "Oh, eat more, study hard, put more clothes on, make sure, make sure, you don't catch a cold, and eat this good food." This is very boring, for our children, for our family, if we cannot talk about anything else. So current event is a good topic. And number three, one of the things we can talk about is comment on the person you're talking to, or the person you would like to speak to in a conversation. Observe them about what they are wearing. But one thing very, very important in North America, we do not ask people that question. Oh, how much does it cost? Now, this is a question that a lot of people, Chinese people especially, they really like to ask. Oh, how much does it cost? And they go to people's house. Oh, your house is very nice. How much do you pay for the house? Oh, your car is very nice. How much do you pay for your car? Now, this is not a very polite question, but North Americans find it very rude to ask people how much you pay for your car, how much you pay for your house, how much is this, how much that. No, no, no. We don't ask questions like that. Okay. Uh, some people even I was training principals and from China. So the first time I see them, they would say, "Oh, you're a school principal in Toronto." I say, "Yes, I am." And then the next question is, "Oh, how much money do you make?" So I didn't like that question and I don't want to answer it. So I said, "Okay, we are public servants. We work for the government. Our salary is all open." I said, "You can go online and look for it for yourself. You want to know how much I make, but I don't want to say it because I also find that question a little offensive. Because if you're asking people how much you're making, that means you're trying to see if that person is poor, that person is rich, or whatever. So, just to let you know, just for cultural sensitivity, in North America, we don't ask people how much you pay for this, how much you pay for that. No, it's not a very nice question to ask, and North Americans finds it very rude. Okay, so number four, if we want to have good conversation with people, number one, what we need to do is we need to pay attention to people. We always pay attention to people when we're talking one on one, but or in a small group. But the problem comes when we're in a big group, for instance, in a dinner situation or in a banquet. There were so many times when I attended, a big dinner and big banquet, and a lot of times after dinner or during dinner, they may have a guest speaker, to come and give a speech. Usually they would invite some special speaker. Sometimes even the mayor may come to address the occasion if the occasion is important. But what we find out is a lot of people at a banquet, they don't pay attention to the speaker. I don't know whether it's a cultural thing. I have no idea. But this is something that we need to learn is when someone is speaking, we need to stop what we're talking about and pay attention to them. Because you can always learn something, and the person who speaks really prepare themselves a lot. You might think that the 1 minute speech is only 1 minute or just a few things, but even for a few minutes speech, that person probably prepared for a long time. So we need to respect the speaker, pay attention, because if we don't pay attention to what the person is saying, how can we respond? How can we carry on a conversation? We cannot. So we need to pay attention to the person who's speaking so that when we talk to them, we can respond to them or we can make a comment on what they are saying. So that's number 4. So number 5 is to follow up on what they have said. So that ties in with the last point that we need to know is pay attention to people. Because when a person is speaking and you don't pay attention to them because you're too busy talking to your friends, or looking at your cell phone and you're not paying attention, how can you make you know make any progress in your conversation? For instance, when someone talks to you, say, "Oh, I went to visit my son and I watched a very good movie with him when I was visiting him." Then you can ask the person, and say, "Oh, you saw a good movie. What's so good about that? Tell me, what's so good about that movie?" Then your conversation can continue, can carry on. But if that person said, "Oh, I saw a very good movie, and I was with my son," and then you do not make any comment, you did not carry on to what they're saying, then the conversation will stop. You cannot continue that conversation. A conversation is two people, not just one person talking all the time, but it's a back and forth, right? Or if somebody said, "Oh, I cannot talk with you for too long. I'm too tired." Then you can ask the person, "Oh, why are you so tired? Are you okay? Uh, what are you so busy with? Is everything okay with your house?" Now, when you ask questions like that, people feel, "Oh, this person is paying attention to me. He just asked me, why am I tired?" He asked me those questions. So being able to ask questions after people speak to you is also very important. It shows that you're paying attention to what they're saying. It shows that you respect them. So this helps you with your relationship. So if your son or your daughter or your husband come home and tell you, "Oh, I don't want to eat dinner now. I want to go to sleep because I'm so tired." So some people will say, "No, you have to eat. I spent all this time in cook. No, you have to eat. How come you're not eating?" So you're getting mad at them instead of saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that you are so tired. Why are you tired? What happened? What happened at work? What happened at school?" So by changing what you're going to say, instead of getting upset at your family not eating the food that you prepare, you are showing your care and concern to them. "Are you okay? How come you're so tired? What happened?" So this will help build your relationship with your family. And number 6, you can share some of the things that happen um, with you or around you in your neighborhood. Now, small talk, remember, it's not something very important. No, you don't have to wait till things that are so important. Um, you share about things that is, the small things. "Oh, I misplaced my keys today. I couldn't find my key when I went to work today. I misplaced it." Or you can say, "Oh, did you hear that there's a new restaurant opening up in our neighborhood? Oh, it's a very good restaurant." Or you can ask, "Oh, today or today is my birthday, or today is my husband's birthday. I would like to go out for dinner. Do you have any recommendation?" So these are the kind of thing that you can talk about. Or you heard a new song and this song is really good. Oh, it's so calming, it's so positive, it's just so lovely. I just love this song. Today when I went shopping, I heard a Christmas song. When I was in the mall, I felt so happy. I feel really good. I said, "Oh, Christmas is coming." I love the Christmas song. Or you can say about the current situation, in Toronto and what happened, and in Canada, or what happened in China, or wherever you're from. You can talk about that. So, and that is a good reminder for myself. This is why I always call my son. I don't wait till something big happened before I call my son. When my son was in school, he would call me. When my son was at university, I was working. I was very busy, so I wasn't calling him as much, and he didn't call me too much either. So it's a two-way street. Communication is two-way street. If we don't talk to our family would not be able to talk to us because they learn from us. The same thing if our children go away for university, or if your husband is go away for work in another town or in another city, and if we don't call each other regularly, you will find that you have less and less to talk about. So at the time when my son was going to university, he would call me. Every time he called me, something great happened. Something that happened to him. He said, "Oh," he called me. "Oh, mom, guess what? I got elected to be the student council at university." I said, "Oh, great." I said, "You're doing so well. I'm happy for you." And then a little while, a few months later, and then he would call me and say, "Oh, mom, I got this scholarship and this and that." And oh, I said, "Great. I'm so happy." And then the phone calls became less and less because he got older. He started going to work. There's not so many exciting, good things happen. So he didn't call me as much. So I said to myself, I said, "No, I have to start calling my son. I have to start calling him just to talk about little things." So I start calling him. The first time I called him, he said, "Mom, what's wrong? Why do you call me? Are you okay? Is Dad sick?" I said, "Yes, yes, yes. Everything is fine. Nobody is sick. Everything is okay. I just want to talk to you." I said, "My son, I just want to talk to you." He said, "Why?" I said, "Because if we don't talk to each other, then we would have less and less phone call. And when we have less and less phone call, then we would become strangers. And I don't want to become strangers with you." So I make a point of calling him, calling my son every week or every 2 weeks. The son we have in China, we talk to him every week. And the son who live in the States, we call him every 2 weeks because each each child is different. Some child they want to talk to you more, and some of your children they don't want to talk so much, like every 2 weeks. So you have to know, about your family members. So and because I keep calling them, so we maintain good relationship. We're still talking to one another, and which is very important. And I know some of my friends. Um, One of my friends said to me, he said, "I haven't seen my family for 10 years." I said, "You're killing." I said, "Where's your family?" "Oh," he said, "My family lives in Calgary." I said, "You haven't seen your family for 10 years?" I said, "Do you go home for Christmas?" He said, "Yeah, I used to go." He said, "When I first graduated from university, I started working in Toronto. And I went the first Christmas, I went the second Christmas. But then every time I went, I just went home and there was nothing we can talk about So I stopped going home now because my parents and I, we don't have too much to talk about. So he stopped going home. And when he stopped going home one year, then he stopped going home the next year and then the next year. So finally, for 10 years, he hasn't gone home for Christmas because he said he and um, his mother passed away. So it's only he and his dad. He said that he and his dad had nothing in common to talk about. So this is why we need to practice. We need to learn how to do small talk. So I told my son, I said, you know what? I said, please call me anytime you feel like talking for anything. We don't have to talk about huge things. I said, please don't wait till you get a promotion. Please don't wait till you get married. Please don't wait till you have a son before you call me. You can call me about anything. So I just call him to talk about Blue Jays. I text him. And then if I bought something really nice, if I find something really cheap, I bought a new pair of shoes really good, I send him a picture and say, hey, guess what? I bought this on sale at Walmart. It's really good price. What do you think? So we can talk about small things like this. It doesn't have to be big so that we can keep our communication open with our loved one, with our families. This is very important because relationship has to be cultivated. It has to be built. It doesn't just happen. So we have to keep it up. We have to keep up the communication. Okay, now the next one. Oh, reading. Well, nowadays well, it used to be that, people read, a lot of people read every day before they go to sleep or they go to the library. But I guess these days, people are just looking at their cell phone and they don't read as much. But you can still read on your phone. You can read ebooks. So one of the things that you can do is if you have read a good book, then you can talk about it. You can ask people, oh, have you read any good book lately? Now, this is a very good conversation starter. A lot of people in North America, they will ask you this question, oh, have you read any good book lately? And then if you have, you say, yes, I did. I read a book on this and that. And it's about this one. So recently, there was a book called From Punk to Preacher. We went to Thailand and we met this gentleman. He was working as a punk and he was actually addicted to drugs. But from being addicted to drugs, he came to know Jesus and then he gave up this addiction and became a Christian. So he wrote a book. It was very, very interesting to know this gentleman. So, and I also bought the book from him, and my husband was reading, and he was telling me about all these things. So when we were talking to our sons on a regular week conversation, and we can talk about, oh, I read a good book about this man who was a punk, and now he's a preacher. What about you? Have you read any book lately? So you can be reading a book, or if you don't read books because they're too long, you can also talk about an interesting article that you read on TikTok, or something you saw on TikTok, or something you saw on YouTube or something. You can also talk about that too. I guess we have to change with the time. Less and less people are reading books and they are watching YouTube and other social media or something. But you can also talk about that. Oh, okay. So next one. So that's number 7. Okay. Oh, this is number 9. It's not 4. Pop culture. Okay, number 7. Number 8. Pop culture. So other than reading a book, then a movie. Okay, you can say, oh, have you watched a movie lately? Oh, do you know that the Oscar was on last night, or the Oscar is happening, and these good movies have been recommended, have been nominated for Oscar. And oh, I watched a TV program. One of them is so funny. Oh, so funny. The Big Bang Theory is so funny. I just love watching that show. It just made me laugh. Or you can say, oh, what about music? Uh, there are many, many concerts and musical programs happening around Christmas time. So if you go to one, and then you can talk about it with people. Oh, I went to this concert, and it's very interesting. I have these people playing, and so on, so on. Recently, I watched a concert, and they have 1,000 people playing together. 1,000 people orchestra. It was very, very interesting, very moving. So these are the kind of things that you can talk about. But in order to talk about this kind of thing, we ourselves, we have to really learn the culture. We live in North America, so we need to learn about some local cultures, local pop. What are some of the programs that are really popular? What are some of the things that people are saying, are doing, so that when we talk to people, we don't sound too ignorant. So we sound, a little knowledgeable. So this is why our family, especially our children, would like to talk to us because we're not ignorant, because we have some kind of knowledge. So a lot of times when I talk to my son about certain things, and he would say, "Oh, Mom, you know about this?" I say, "Yeah." "Well, how do you know about that?" I said, "Because I watch the news. That's why I know about it." Right? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I keep pressing the wrong button. Okay, next one. Okay, now one other tips that is very, very good, and people really appreciate it, is you recall the past conversation with the same person. For instance, if you have a neighbor, or you have a colleague, or you have a friend, and you talked to him last time, and he was saying to you, "Oh, I don't, like last time, oh, I'm so sorry, I cannot stay talking to you because I don't feel well." And then the next time when you see him, you mentioned that. You say, "Oh, last time when I talked to you, you said that you had to go home right away because you are not feeling well, or your son is not feeling well. So how are you now? And how is your son?" Wow. What do you think the other person would feel? Because you follow up on the conversation and you remember what they told you. Wow, that person would feel like a million bucks because you remember them. You remember what they said to you. So this is why it's so important when we talk to people, we need to pay attention. We need to have eye contact. When we have eye contact with people, that means we're paying attention to them. We're not thinking about other things. We're not looking at our cell phone. We're not doing something else. And by following up on other people's conversation, the person would really appreciate your thinking of them, your kindness, and the fact that you remember them. So paying attention to people is very important when you're talking to them. Or you can ask them, "Oh, last time I talked to you, you said that you're going away on holiday. So how was it? How was your holiday? And where did you go?" Then from then on, the conversation would continue because you have made the person feel so good, so special by remembering what they have told you. So your friendship can develop from there because they appreciate you, knowing that you remember them, you pay attention to them. And last but not the least, so when we are talking, the best way to carry on conversation is to ask questions, right? So when someone talk to you, sometimes they stop talking, and then you can ask them questions about what they told you. So there are two types of questions. One is called open questions, and one is called closed questions. Okay, so if you ask people, "How are you?" So right away the answer is good. "I'm fine, thank you." Then what? The conversation seemed to stop. Well, the other person normally would say, "Oh, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?" And then you say, "Fine, thank you." And then that's the end of it? Then the conversation stops there? No. Now, that's more like a closed question, okay? So instead of saying, how are you can say, oh, how are you feeling? How are you doing these days? What are you doing these days? Then the person will say, oh, I'm doing good, or I'm not doing so well because, you know, the economy is not doing well and my company is starting to lay off people and this and that. And then we're not so busy. And so instead of saying, how are you can ask these questions. How are you feeling? How do you feel lately? Oh, what have you been doing lately? Oh, lately, anything special happened lately? So instead of saying, how are you? So how are you is more of a closed question. Closed question is when you can say yes or no. How are you? Yes, I'm good. Thank you. That's the end of question. So that's a closed question. An open question is that question cannot be answered with yes or no, and people have to continue, can have to elaborate. Then your conversation can carry on. So instead of saying how are you can say how are you feeling? What have you been doing lately? Anything happened lately? So try your small talk now. So I don't know if you remember the 10 things we talk about. So very quickly, you're going to sum up. The first thing we can talk about is the weather. The second thing we can talk about is current events, right? The third thing we can talk about is comment on a piece of clothing or jewelry. And when you see someone's necklace, you can say, oh, this necklace looks very, very nice, very interesting. Where do you get it? You can ask, where do you get it? Just don't ask how much it costs. And then the person will tell you, oh, I got it on my holiday in Hawaii, or I got it because my mom gave it to me. Then, there's a story behind a piece of jewelry. So number 3, a piece of jewelry or clothing you can comment on. Number 4, you have to pay attention to what people are saying so that you can respond, especially in big group. Uh, the, the fifth topic is following up, ask questions, appropriate questions to what the person has just told you. If they tell you, oh, I started a new job last month, you can say, oh, how's your new job? How do you like it? Is it any different from the one you did before? So you're following up on what they just told you. And then number 6, you can share some small things that happen, in your life. You don't have to tell people your family history. You don't have to tell other people, oh, I just had a big fight with my husband, and oh, I can't stand him. You don't have to say that. You can just share minor things, something small, something unimportant, not important. Small talk is talk about things that are not important, and then to ask people about the reading. What have you read lately? Have you read any good books lately? And then know about the popular culture. Have you listened to any good songs? Have you watched any good movies? Any good shows? And then recall your past conversation with that person. Last time I talked to you, you said that you're moving away, you're moving out of Toronto. So where are you now? Do you like living in Markham instead of Toronto? How is it? How is the traffic? Number 10, ask open questions, not closed questions. How are you? Instead of saying, how are you feeling? What are you doing? What are you up to lately? Any exciting thing happen in your life? Anything? Any interesting thing? So these are the 10 things that we can talk about. And I'm going to skip that one. Okay. So, we just relax and enjoy people's company. We don't have to be so serious. When we talk to our children, don't always ask them, how's the school? What have you learned in school? How's your job? Did you find a job? Are you making good money? Don't ask this kind of questions. You know, just relax and enjoy the company. People are very interested. And also, people can sense whether you are interested in them or not. Same with our family members. Our children knows, is my mom very interested in me, or she just asking, she just being nosy? Or I can feel that my mom loves me because my mom just enjoy being with me without giving me a lot of pressure. And some people are born very quiet, introvert, and if they don't want to talk, they just like to listen. So if you try a few times and you try your best to strike up a conversation, and if they don't want to say anything, they don't want to continue, just let it go. It's okay. It's all right. You don't have to force yourself to talk. Normally, if you show interest in people, people will be interested to talk to you. But not everybody is the same. Some people are different. So if they don't want to talk, it's okay. Silence is okay too. So that's the end of my small talk. I hope that you learned something